Hello and welcome to Suddenly Single, the new and hilarious dating podcast.
Where we're going to get our celeb mates to tell us about their dating disasters.
We're also going to have a few experts in the studio to tell us where you and I are going wrong.
Come on, and I don't think you've got enough makeup on.
I need the sun, I need inspiration. I just want to give.
Here we are, a year on from Suddenly Single.
6.7 million people are now tuning into you to watch this show.
Suddenly Singles had 6.7... that's amazing, really, from an idea that came out of us over a bottle of wine.
We've had some really great guests.
And some real curveball guests as well. All of them have been favourites. One that actually ignited quite a bit of conversation with people. Jan Leeming, what a great guest.
I know, she's the English Elizabeth Taylor, that one. She really is. I admire her, and we both got invited to the palace, but I couldn't go.
Yes.
And you went and you took Miss Leeming with you, and I hear that she potentially found husband number 6 there.
Did she?
Well, that's what I heard. Actually, you 6.7 million out there. If any of you have got any great stories about how you did work it out, how you finally found someone, please let us know, because we'd love to hear, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
We're still trying to work out why we can't get it right.
I just want to give. Just want to get out of here.
I just wanted to go back to something you said earlier about cheating. You said you're friends with all of your exes. How long does that take to forgive that? I mean, especially like you've been married to several of these people, I'm presuming that you're talking about.
Well, all right. Love of my life left me. I made rebound marriage. That fell apart. Love of my life came back into my life. That was 7 years later. But we didn't live together. He saw me at weekends and then he dumped me again. It wasn't nearly as bad. It hurt. But I suppose not after the second dumping. I should never have allowed him back into my life.
But you loved him.
I did love him.
So,
I loved him very much. And when he announced he was leaving me, I said, we can get through this if you want to. And then I was told that out of the 12 years we were together, he was only faithful for 2. But I had no idea. I think it was on Vanessa's podcast when I think you said it, or I don't know, somebody said, but if you've got a happy life, married life, or just living together life, you're not looking.
That was
But some men are. They might have fillet steak at home, but they're still looking for mincemeat.
Yeah, they are. Well, we've all had that, haven't we? They've got a steak at home, they've gone out for a burger. What can I say?
Best to be a vegetarian. Somebody else that's now embarking for the first time for a few years being single is Stephen Webb, who's another popular guest that we had on, still separating from his husband.
I think people that manage to stay friends, I really admire them, particularly if you haven't got kids. Because to a certain extent, if you've got kids, you've got to work it out, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you haven't,
or pets.
Yeah, and they're very newly single and they seem to get on fine. I've seen them out and about a few times.
I just want to give. Just want to get out of here.
I think me and Daniel should write a book on how to separate as a gay couple.
I think that'd be really good.
We're still living together.
Yeah.
We've obviously got our tasks in the house and our chores that we do. So he's still cooking for me. I'm still washing his pants.
Yeah.
We are in separate bedrooms, but we're just like, I've said this before, he is one of the best things that ever happened to me. And I'm getting a bit choked up now. I'm not gonna never be friends with him. I'm not gonna let that happen. Daniel come on to Celebs Go Dating with me and was filmed picking out outfits for me to wear, which I think he did stitch me up on one.
Was that the shot when they said you looked like a schoolboy at the bottom and a granddad on the top? Was it that outfit?
No, that monstrosity was my doing.
Oh, was it?
No, one that he set me out in kind of all black and looked a bit like Danny Zuko. But, yeah.
Maybe he's not quite cut the tie.
Yeah, no. So
I think you should do something or do something online about it, because it'd be really interesting to read it, because most relationships, by the definition of breaking up, breaks up the normal relationship that you've had of respect and love, because it goes out the window, because normally one person doesn't want it to happen.
Yeah. And obviously I spearheaded the divorce, but we just took a lot of time. The day I told him, we just kind of cancelled everything, went to the shops, bought loads of chocolate and crisps and sweet, everything, and just sat indoors all day, and we just spoke about our whole relationship, when we first met, all the amazing things we've done together, and we just went through it all, and it was really cathartic.
Do you think that you're confident that you'll meet somebody quite quickly? Because it sounds to me like you've done a lot of the work already to get to this point.
Well, I got offered to go on Celebs Go Dating, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't go on there looking for a partner. I went on there for a paycheck.
Absolutely.
Very
Why not?
So that wasn't my goal. I'm quite happy to be single. And if someone comes along, someone comes along. Do I think I'll ever find anyone like Daniel again? He's going to be a hard one. He's going to be a hard one to beat because he was really good to me. Yeah, really good to me.
Okay, so if the next person that dumps me, could you just bring the chocolates and the sweeties, please?
Linda Robson, known Linda on and off for many, many years, and everybody knows what Linda thinks because of, Loose Women. But it was interesting to talk to her purely just about her romantic relationships, because she is very black and white about not wanting to date in the future.
And she's very brave at being on her own. I think I could learn some lessons from her on that. I'm a bit rubbish at it.
I just wanna get out of
Have you
here.
had friends trying to set you up with people?
A couple of people, but I said I'm not interested. I'm really not interested.
It's probably a little bit quick.
I did get asked that by someone a while ago. I started chatting to someone. I'm going to be careful what I say here. Anyway, we started chatting. He said, "Oh, do you fancy going for a drink later?" I went, "No, not really." So he said, "Why?" I said, "I'm just not really interested." I was just like, and I got to go home and tell the kids. They went, "You should have gone out with him for a drink." I said, "No, I didn't want to." I was scared, I think.
Yeah.
But
it's
really
scary. It is
Like,
scary.
Yeah, it is scary.
My husband hasn't seen me naked, so I'm not going to let someone else see me naked.
Well, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
What, I'm going to take my clothes off for someone else after 20 years?
Especially me,
Really?
because I wear granny nighties. It's not exactly a turn on, is it?
Well, no, I mean...
I think it scares me.
Yeah. Completely.
The whole idea scares me.
But you're not unique, I don't think.
No.
I think there's a lot of people out there, men and women, that would be the same. Especially if you've been with somebody, for like Sally was saying, 48 years, married for 45 and with him for 48 years. I don't want to kiss anybody else.
Do you want to meet somebody?
No,
Would you like to?
Not interested.
Oh, you're not interested?
No, not interested at all. I'm
How
happy with my
interesting.
kids and my grandchildren. And then I like my little holidays away. So
I
I
mean,
like
if
going
you-
on my own.
yeah,
Because
if
I
you
can
know
watch what I
that.
want on television. I go to what restaurant I want to go to. I can talk to who I want to talk to.
I'm with you on that.
know,
I'm
yeah.
totally with you on that.
But I don't have sex with anyone.
Do you know, I mean, so this is so interesting because we were talking about
And,
this a bit
and kissing
earlier.
is even like more intimate than sex,
Yeah.
I think.
I'm not sure I could go on holiday on my own.
You're always going on holiday on your own.
Yeah, but they're trips.
Press trips,
Yes,
they're work
yes,
trips.
yeah. They're
But-
work trips where I'm with other people that I don't know. But that's I can go to dinner with them. I don't look like I'm by myself.
KP, first guest,
The pricey.
the pricey.
Personally, I love her. And, she says what she thinks. She does what she likes. And hats off.
I just wanna get.
You're a brilliant mum, particularly to Harvey.
Yeah.
You're an amazing mum and you're a lovely person, but clearly physical attraction is important to you, even the way you deal with yourself. You've had a lot of
don't worry, I
surgery.
think I've got a relationship about my bloody body. And people say I've got body dysmorphia. Do you know, I always denied it, and I probably do, really. Yeah, I probably do. I'll probably tick that box as well.
So would you have another boob job?
Yeah, I want to go smaller, I think, because when you see pictures of me in the paper, not that I care, they always put the worst pictures in, and that's because they make more money for the paparazzi. And I think because I'm quite casual how I dress, back in the day, if I'd go clubbing, I'd put the tiny little outfits, boobs out. Although I've had my boobs on, I never get them out unless it's for OnlyFans, but I don't get them proper out. So I've never done that and I never would. And I love getting my kit off in front of the camera. I'm an exhibitionist. I'm good at it. I love it. Until this day, you can get any 20-year-old, whatever, in front of a camera and I'll wipe out of them in a photo shoot. And that I am cocky on. I know how to work a camera. I don't know if it's to do with my eyes or something, because everyone says my eyes change. I'm like an animal in front of the camera. Like I just know what I'm doing.
You're very body confident.
think they make me look bigger than what I am. I think when you've got big boobs, because I like tracksuits and stuff, they just make me
So
look
why did you
bigger.
go for the big one?
Because I like it for me. It's weird. I do it for me. So I like to look in the mirror and think, yeah. When I've had therapy, we realised my downfall in life with everything is men. If you took men out the equation in my life, I would have no dramas, no problems, no nothing.
As a man,
There we go, Tim.
I'm crossing my arms, but now I'm crossing.
Speaking on behalf of the
Is it the
species.
choice of men?
Yes.
It's not men, all men.
No,
it's the
it's
choice of men.
Exactly. So this is it. The choice of men I've always picked are toxic, narcissist, and I think it's because I've always been vulnerable and needy, and I've jumped to relationship, not like they've always lasted the relationships, but not actually had a break or had boundaries. Never had boundaries in relationships. Just jump. You know, if a man's like, oh, you're so gorgeous, you're this, you're that, I'm sucked into that niceness because I've always been needy. Whereas now, and I've learned in therapy, boundaries are important.
Those are labels, though. But what does that actually mean?
I can normally, like, if I want to go to work, a man doesn't have to come with me. They don't have to be in and out my pocket.
If Brad Pitt rang you up
Yes.
and asked you out on a date, would that fill you with glee, excitement, or fear? Well, or disgust from your face. I don't know what you're...
It wouldn't fill me with fear at all. Of course I'd go, but he's not really my type.
Oh, so it's... Okay, who's your type then? Let's rephrase it.
Oh, Charlie Sheen.
Okay, that's very telling. Charlie Sheen rang you up,
Bad
asked you out
boys.
on a date.
Yeah.
Would it fill you with excitement or fear?
Excitement.
Well, that's interesting because one of our guests, Tamzin, she is not in a place where she wants to date anybody. And I understand that sometimes you have to be mentally in the right place to want to go and date somebody. And if somebody famous or somebody that typifies the perfect person for you, why it fills you with fear, because you think, can I deal with all these emotions at the moment?
I just wanna get out of here.
The idea of actually going on a date fills me with horror.
Why?
Well, so somebody sets you up, or I also think about all my single girlfriends who have been single for a long time. I feel like, they'd be like, back of the queue, mate. It's only just started for you, this singlehood. And we've been waiting, and I'm always on the lookout for single men for them, or single women, because my female friends that are single, I always feel like they hold themselves to quite high standards. So I'm always looking, and there seems to be more single women than men. Personally, I find the idea of being with the same person for the rest of my life horrifying.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's lovely.
Do you?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to be said for people that stay in relationships forever, because there's no way they were going to walk out. There's no way they would divorce.
Yeah.
It's like they'll get through it together.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like pure love. You just think, hats
It's evolving
off.
love as well,
It
isn't
is.
it? And it's a lot of respect there as well.
Yeah. And I've got so much respect for people that do that. But I also now don't think that we're necessarily meant to be with one person for the rest of our lives.
Do you think
Some
there
of
is
us.
the one?
Some of us.
Do you think there's the one, or do you think there's several
No,
the ones?
there's several the ones.
Yeah, I think that. We were talking
I
about
think
that.
the one is you, and you really have
Oh,
to
I
get
love
to
that.
know you.
The one is you.
Because I spent a lot of time chasing relationships, chasing men, trying to please, trying to make things work, when really I neglected me. And so now that's my relationship.
A lot of the people that you meet socially, you have to have a bit of something between you, and if it's not there, it's not there.
Oh, it's all energy.
You've got to be in the
got to
race to
be.
win it, though. You've got to put yourself out.
Well, you've got
somewhere.
to want to go
You've
on
got
a
to
date.
want, yeah.
And
Yeah.
at the moment, even if somebody said Brad Pitt's coming over and really wants to take you out, I'd still be like, no.
Really?
At the moment.
Really?
You
Yeah.
can ring me when that happens.
Yeah.
Do you think there's the one?
How long have we got? I think when you're young and you're, and I mean young, school age, you think there's going to be the one, because everything is the one. That experience is the first time you do this, the first time you go abroad, the first time you kiss, the first time you do other things.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
all new, and you think that's an escalating thing of the one. And also you have no black and white shade, do you? It's all brand new. So when you're young, there is the one out there. When you're older, you realise that there may be more than one person, but it doesn't tick every box. Somebody that touched on the fact that she felt that drinking was starting to be a slight problem and has now gone sober is Erika.
Just wanna get out of here.
One of the reasons that I like you from day one, Miss Ulrika Carr, is that you are so honest about everything. Everything from your childhood in Sweden to your booze battle that you wrote, well, not battle, but that you've given up booze
Have
about
you given
4
up booze?
months ago
Completely?
in Best.
Yeah.
And one thing that I think has affected my life and my relationships, being 100% honest, has been my ability to at times drink too much. Would you say that's the same with you?
Yeah, and as I wrote in my piece for Best, that it was a binge drinking problem,
Functioning binger.
Yeah, and it wasn't every day, and then it sort of almost became every day. I was drinking because I was really anxious, and I had a lot of outside, very big, what I would say, traumatic situations coming at me. But having said that, I certainly didn't need an excuse to drink, but that was, I could not cope with life. But yeah, drinking and dating, you see, they go hand in hand. Because I would always have a drink before a date, because you do that to calm your nerves and get yourself into the mood. And while I'm putting my makeup on, I'll have my little rum and coke on the side there. And I have been on a date since I gave up drinking, and it was really difficult.
Yeah, I bet.
I did not want to pick up. I wasn't going to start drinking, but it was
to get
it's
yourself
such a
there.
habit. Yeah, such a habit, and it's quite triggering. And the other person's able to drink.
But there is an onus on the other person when the other person isn't drinking, because I've been on dates. They go, I'm not drinking. Oh, are you driving? No, I just don't drink. And you think, I'm going to have to monitor what I'm drinking. That person's going,
I don't want people to feel that. Yeah. I don't want people to ever feel that. I've even had that with my son. We went out to dinner and he said, do you want me not to drink, Mum? And I said, hell no. We live in the world, full of alcohol. You crack on and get yourself a nice hangover tomorrow, and I won't. But, it depends why you're drinking. I think a lot of people are embracing sobriety just for health reasons. But for me, I felt like it was becoming a problem, and I didn't really recognise myself.
How long have you given up for?
I'll be 5 months on next week.
Oh, fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you, yeah. I've had people in the past where they're living rent-free in my head for a long period after, and I'm thinking, you were not that important to me. And actually, you were a dick, and the red flags were there from the beginning.
Yes.
Why are you still in my head? And that's he obviously, whatever they triggered certain things, and that I hadn't sort of resolved, I guess, then. And I still want to say to them, and followed by, I punch, I don't advocate violence, but
So another guest we've had is our columnist, my problem page editor, Vanessa Vance.
Just wanna get out of here.
I think what you did, and it doesn't matter whether you're on the show or whether you do it on an app, to go on that first date after all those years, does it make you feel sick?
Absolutely terrible.
Sick.
Terrible.
I actually had to have a massive glass of red wine. I called my friend, I said, I'm not going. And she said, do you know what, don't drink when you're going to drink now. And that was the only way I could get there.
I get that completely. I couldn't do that because my first date on Celebs Go Dating, which was my first date, was on TV in the morning. It wasn't even in the evening. I couldn't just take a couple of glasses of red wine and go rocking in at, I think it was about 11 o'clock in the morning. What could I do? And B, it was on telly, so I couldn't just be kind of, three sheets to the wind and just kind of, burbling through. It was terrifying. I felt really, really nervous, really apprehensive. Like I had to be on my best behaviour, but I wasn't really sure what my best behaviour was. All that kind of, you want to be kind of attractive, but you don't want to kind of have your bosoms hanging out on the table. You just don't really know what to do. I didn't know what to do. I'm still not 100% sure what to do.
I was going to say, what have you learnt from there, though? Presumably you've been on dates since.
Yes.
Yeah. And what have you taken away from that show? Not to do it on camera.
Yeah, maybe not to do it on camera, although if I'm still single this time, at the same time this year, I'd do it again like a shot. Yeah, not to do, I don't know what. I think not to stay too long. I think you know, get in there for a coffee or one drink and get out. Unless you like it, in which case stay. But I do think, I mean, I know everyone says, you know, give people a chance and, you know, give them a chance and people can grow on you. And I'm sure that's true. If, for example, you work with them and you see them every day for 2 years and suddenly one day over the filing cabinet you think, oh God, you know, that could happen. Or somebody you know that's, I don't know, a distant friend of a distant friend that you've met loads of times over the years and one day you suddenly click. Maybe that does happen. I'm not saying it doesn't. But when you're on a date, this kind of dating setup, I think you do know pretty quickly whether it's easy and fun or whether it's not. And if it's not, it's not. And you might as well go home.
I can really agree with Vanessa on that. I hate it when my bosoms are hanging out at the table.
Do you know that has actually happened to me in real life?
What do you mean?
Well, oh God, I can't believe I'm going to tell this story. I went to a dance with an ex and his boss asked me to dance. And when I came back to the table, he was really laughing. And he said, oh, I think he really enjoyed your company. I said, yes, I think he did. I was being a bit cocky. And he went, look at your dress. It had come down on one side entirely.
Another guest that we had on was Alex Best, who a huge attribute of her personality is being able to live with somebody that was so famous at the time. It's hard to illustrate to somebody that doesn't really know who George Best was, but he was big.
He was bigger than David Beckham in his day.
Yeah.
And also probably one of the first people to go on to newspapers as like a good-looking, almost celebrity.
Well, I think you've mentioned outside of sports he was famous.
Outside of sports, yeah.
But also had a huge challenge with drinking too much.
I just wanna get out of here.
George haunts you?
He doesn't haunt me.
Right.
But there's funny little things after he died that happened. I was getting ready to go to his funeral and I just put my coat on, ready to walk out the door, and the shower turned on by itself. Just little, you know, these little tiny things. But I mean, signs. That's what exactly, Tim. Signs. But no, he doesn't haunt me.
But was your gut that it was him saying hi?
I mean, I believe in these kind of little signs.
Had it been on your mind when that happened?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you think, am I making it out? But when the shower turns on its own, maybe something wrong with the plumbing at the hotel. I don't know, but it's reassuring as well. It makes you feel comforted, you know.
You've just given us the highlights of what you went through. I can only imagine how horrific it was for everybody involved.
Yeah,
not just you and George, but your family, your mum, your dad, and everybody else that was around it.
Yeah. Oh yes, I mean, being a American alcoholic, it affects everybody. Everybody, friends, family, you know, children.
And it's 24/7, I imagine.
It is.
As soon as you wake up, you're wondering what's happening.
Yeah, and it's also the wondering, that's the problem. You think, you know, wake up in the morning, is he going to drink today? Is he not? And then when he's being so good, then you dread the... Yeah. He woke up in the morning, you could tell he was going to be on a bender. The way he swept his hair back and his eyes took a different look, and you thought, oh no, here we go again. Is he going to turn up to jobs? George was very, very ill, and he had a liver transplant.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was it. That was meant to be. That's forever. Yeah. And also when George wasn't drinking, and I had quite a good few years of him not drinking, you see the most amazing. He was like Jekyll and Hyde. When he was sober, he was just total different character, and George would have hated drunk George.
Really?
That's how different they were. And because we'd had such a lovely time, you know, living in Ireland, him being off the alcohol. And then after the liver transplant, when he started drinking again, I thought, oh, please, because he had antibiotics, pellets down into him to stop him from drinking. So I thought, no, he can't possibly be drinking again. And then I found empty bottles, and I thought, well, here we go again.
Yeah.
And then it was obviously, you know, to me, that was it. If you have a liver transplant, you can't stop drinking, then that's it. And because I was he thought I was going to stop him from drinking, he kind of like did it in secret, and he went disappearing, and then, you know, after all we'd been through the transplant, and he died in the transplant, I just thought, and he turned into a totally different person, and I just thought, I'm now older, I've seen the great side of George, I just can't go through this again.
I don't believe in ghosts, but I do believe in an afterlife. And sometimes I will talk to my dad or even a saint in my head. So, yeah, I mean, why not? Maybe George did come back. So one of my favourites was Sally Morgan. She did make the front page of the papers.
Lovely guess. And what was the title?
Well, she's a psychic. And the front page, because she'd been asked out at her husband's funeral, was she didn't see that coming. Well, you wouldn't, would you?
I just wanna get, just wanna get out of
We
here.
had a relationship expert on last time, and she said, whatever you excel at, what you're happy doing, that's where you're going to meet somebody. So...
She'd have to literally pick someone out of the audience on
Well,
that
couldn't you do
basis.
that?
You know what I see in your future? Me.
That's actually brilliant.
Yeah. Have you been on any dates?
No.
None at all?
None at all. I tell you what, at his funeral, there were like 200 men at John's funeral, maybe even more. And one of them asked me on a date.
At the funeral?
At John's funeral.
Oh, my God.
A bit early.
I went into it was like, oh, yeah, is this going to happen? And then because I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
because
Why
I'm still,
would you?
well, John is no longer here, but I'm still married to John.
Of course you are.
But I talk to him all the time, and it's like, I don't know if I can be on my own, John, for the rest of my life, however long or short that may be.
But I like the way you talked about it, about being companionship, because, I mean, I feel the same, actually, I think. I like having someone to go out for dinner with.
Yeah, you've said that before.
I have quite a lot of platonic male friends, and I think, well, if I really need someone to go to this thing or what have you, it's nice to have those people to
Well, I do. I have, and I went to Sunday lunch with a very, very good. He's a very famous guy and his family last Sunday, and he's like the friend, but obviously I know his family and his wife and everything, and it was really strange because, you know, John would, and they had other people there, and I was just the woman. You feel like, basically, you're a bit of a gooseberry, you know. And looks don't really bother me.
Really?
No, they don't bother
No,
me.
if it's a nice,
Never have.
seriously, it's
Never
not.
have.
You know, I tell you what, I like nice teeth and nice shoes.
Nice teeth. And so if he turned up on a first date just in some shoes and a smile.
Yeah, they'd be fun. Yeah, and yeah, dark eyes. Yeah, yeah. But seriously, it doesn't. You know, because you can always change that. You can always say, do you know what? If you got to know him, I prefer you in that. Can you let me dress you up? But nice teeth, nice shoes. Yeah, and a sense of humour.
Well, another fantastic guest, but it does make me feel a little bit better that even a psychic can't work out a love life that quickly. Debbie McGee, what a breath of fresh air. What a lovely guest. But has also, like some of our celebs, had to deal with bereavement and dating somebody that was very famous.
I just wanna get, just wanna get out
You
of
met
here.
Paul through work, didn't you?
Yeah.
So do you think that's one of the reasons that's in your head, that that's the organic way that you should meet somebody?
No, I don't think so, because when I met Paul, I didn't know who he was. And I hated magicians. Well, I hated magic.
My God, that's a great start, isn't it?
So, yeah.
And 30 years of happiness.
Yeah, nearly 40 actually. We were married for 30 years, but we were together for 9 years before we got married.
Wow, so it was 9 years? I didn't realise that. So it was a long period before you even got married.
Yeah, because he just thought I was far too young and kept saying, go and meet somebody your own age.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so... I had to do a lot of chasing.
Really?
Did you know the minute you met Paul that he's the one?
I don't know if I knew he was the one, but we just had an instant chemistry. We made each other laugh, and we both remembered that moment. Paul always remembered that moment, and so did I. It was a bit both ways. In that for a long time, he, would take me out to dinner, and we were friends, or take me to an opening night, but then say, no,
Yeah. That's very romantic.
Yeah, you're too young for me, blah, 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 blah. And I had other boyfriends and he had other girlfriends and things. And then when I got to about 27 and I was becoming very independent and I'd bought my own flat and I had a brand new car and I was working with ABBA and various James Last and Christopher around Europe, and then coming back and just doing the odd... Well, I was doing the TV series with Paul. I think he suddenly thought... I'm going to lose her. But he always said, no, you've got a little bit older. I thought the press wouldn't be so tough on us.
What was the difference in age then?
20 years.
Gosh.
Doesn't seem as much now in this day and age, does it?
And also I think as you get a little bit older, that it sort of closes that gap, because when you're you know,
Yeah.
if you were 17 and he was 37, that's
Yeah.
massive.
Yeah.
But if you're 37 and he's 57, it's just not so big in terms of how you live your lives.
So that's what he said, and you know, and I was doing loads of work with other people and whatever, and then he had a girlfriend at the time and said to me, well, if I finish with her, you know, and will you be prepared to actually have a relationship? So I said, if you finish with her, we'll see. So it's kind of a bit of both.
Yeah. Just wanna get out of here.
Next time, we're joined by top-selling romance novelist Freya North, who talks about moving to the countryside, dating with kids, and how she finally found her Mr. Right.